a Ranger reunion in Waco, a Longhorn Ranch outside Johnson City, and a taste of hill country beauty at a home overlooking Lake Austin.
I've had a lot of surprises.
A very special show this week as Eyes of Texas talks to author James Michener and watches him work on a novel about the state, its people, its beginnings, its land. The Eyes of Texas.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Stone. Welcome to a special edition of The Eyes of Texas. Special this week because Texas is being visited by a special man. James A. Michener has written novels about Hawaii, Poland, America, the Holy Land, and outer space. Now he has taken on the task of writing a novel about Texas. He and his wife and project assistant John King have been living here for 2 years now, observing the state. This program is about Texas and about a Philadelphia native who came here to write a novel about Texas. The Eyes of Texas, we first saw Michener doing his research at the 7th Annual Retired Ranger Reunion at the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame in Waco.
The Texas Ranger Hall of Fame was established in the early 1970s on the grounds of Old Fort Fisher.
Those people were just like an artist. They were born to be peace officers. That's the reason they were successful in what they did.
Some of the old-timers come to find themselves on display. The old pictures bring back old memories, and the old stories go on and on. There was a very special outsider attending this year's reunion. Author James Michener is researching and writing a novel about the state and about its people. He arrived here to visit with some old Rangers and to listen to some old stories himself.
I'm by no means a tourist who just dropped in on
The main event for this Texas Ranger Day was a Texas-sized cookout beneath the warm Waco skies. More than 1,000 people showed up for the event, but it didn't work out. In an instant, the blue skies over Fort Fisher were engulfed by large gray clouds. Distant thunder announced that a storm was approaching, and the cookout became a cook-in.
Is that rain out there? Man, isn't that something?
That is rain. The changeover was orderly, and author Michener witnessed one of those infamous and unpredictable North Texas hailstorms. Barbecue and beans topped off the day, but conversation never let up.
Louis, this is Mr. Michener, and
Jim
this
Michener.
This is Mr. King here. This is Mia Smith. My wife, Nettie. I want you to meet that gentleman there. He's from El Paso. Let's go around. Joe Brown here. Oh, very good.
Well, they have a good system.
It's nice to meet you.
Well, it's good to be here
I
with
can't
you.
wait to read your book.
Same with me. That's for sure. The 7th annual Ranger Reunion was a notable success. A few old Rangers were reunited. A lot of old stories were recounted. And one grand old novelist finally got to put aside the small talk time enough to do some serious researching on his own into a plate of Texas barbecue. Let's get something to drink.
It is September 1983. The Micheners have leased a home overlooking Lake Austin in the hill country. They expect to be there till perhaps 1985, or at least until the Texas epic is complete. His book on Poland has just been released. It's another bestseller, but already it is past history. Michener has had his mind on the Texas book for more than a year now. He spends long hours in his office at home, typing or else collecting his thoughts from a recent interview. Evidence of his latest project seems organized, like the man, but it is scattered all over the room. It is not easy to find time to relax and enjoy the scenery, but Michener works at it, and occasionally he and his wife Maury soak up some of that famous hill country atmosphere on the back porch. James A. Michener has visited every corner of the state at this point, and he probably knows more about Texas and Texans than most Texans do. Detailed research is what goes into every James Michener novel, and that may be the reason this author has never written a flop.
What is Texas, Mr. Michener?
Well, it's a state of euphoria. That's right next to New Mexico and Arizona. And it takes itself seriously. It's a compound of legend and desire, I think. And they're both constructive. They're both on the good side. I think that Texas is on the side of the angels. It tries to do things right. It's extremely conservative by the standards of, say, Philadelphia or New York or Boston. But by its own standards, it hews a pretty decent middle road, I think.
Did you have preconceived ideas that you had to knock down when you came here, or?
Now, you must remember that I've been coming to Texas since 1936. I've been here quite deeply sometimes, and I have written about Texas. I first knew Texas up in the region of Dalhart, in the extreme northwest. And I used to come through here twice a year, maybe 4 times a year, every year, on my way to Mexico or someplace else. And I thought that Texas was a strip of concrete about yay wide, which ran from Dalhart to Laredo. from northwest to southeast. And I was amazed some years later to find that it also ran from southwest at El Paso to northeast, up to Beaumont and up to Jefferson and up to Texarkana. No, I first knew it purely as a western state with some minor towns like Dallas and Fort Worth and San Antonio off to one side. But the real Texas was the range and the cattle and those great empty spaces out there in towns like Lubbock and Plainview. I knew them intimately. My knowledge was extremely partial. I would say that so far as the effect of Texas is concerned, I knew about 10% of it. But I always came back to that. And I do now. I'm just reaching the part where I'm going to be working out in Abilene and Lubbock and Sanderson and Marfa and places like that, and Alpine in particular. And I'm very eager to do it because that's my Texas and I'll be going home. But when I've finished that, I'll be swinging back into the great cities, Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston primarily. And I think that will at least prevent me from being parochial on the subject.
You realize if you stay here long enough, you also will hear personally from everyone who was a descendant of the original 300 and expect you to put them in your book.
Well, I think there are only 4 of them that haven't checked in yet. And I await each day's mail with terror because there is somebody who is going to punch my nose flat if I do not mention his Aunt Abigail. Now, when you get to Abigail, she is worth mentioning. Absolutely marvelous characters. And one takes refuge in the fact that a book has only so many pages and there's room for only so many Abigails, but it's fun. You sure get a view of Texas.
Have you gotten a lot of mail from people or suggestions as to my family would make an ideal story?
I would say upwards of 400 by now. So we've covered the original 300. Now, what I'm working on is that group of wonderful Canary Islanders who came over in 1731. I haven't heard too much from them yet, but I think they're getting together in a gang. They're going to hit me some afternoon.
They're going to march on you here.
They're going to march. But I'll tell you the truth. I keep a map in my study with all the escape routes over the Red River marked in case I have to leave in a real hurry. And I'm going to keep that map around because I am not really here to write a book for Texans. I'm here to write a book for everybody. And I am therefore not obligated to make everybody on the local scene happy. But if you look at the other books I've written, and there's some dozen of them, I'm not a hatchet man. I'm not looking for scandal or anything like that. I am looking for a good story.
one time in your life were very active in politics, and now you're in a state where politics is a way of life. Your thoughts on Texas politics?
I have been deeply involved in politics. I ran for Congress.
Yes.
I've been on quite a few national commissions and going on a couple more. I just love politics. I think it's the way we choose up sides. It's the way we apportion our prerogatives. And I would hate ever to be too far from politics. However, when you move into Texas, you're moving into the big leagues. I mean, they play politics down here like there was no tomorrow. And I think us tough Northerners are not up to the way you fellas play.
Well, I doubt that that's the case. But
Well, now wait. I grew up in Pennsylvania, which has some of the toughest politics in the country, and I then lived in Maryland, which has some of the dirtiest, and I lived in New Jersey, where, boy, you better not go out at night if people in the other party are on the streets. So with that background, I'm no child, but I find Texas politics a couple of degrees more intricate because the lines are not so clearly drawn. In the last gubernatorial, for example, a man like me who reads the papers carefully and who looks at television news and tries to get a feel could literally get no feel of how that election was going to go. The gubernatorial.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say I was surprised by the outcome because I didn't anticipate an outcome, but I was sure as heck confused.
You also have done extensive writing on sports, and you're in a state where
Yeah.
where that's more than a way of life. If politics is big league here, certainly we take our sports big league.
Maybe the most intense reaction in America. One would have to crank in Alabama, Oklahoma, and Nebraska, but a place like Penn State, where we have some really great teams, I mean Penn State and Pitt,
Yeah.
the state of Pennsylvania, where we've had some really fine teams, doesn't compare in the intensity that you fellas show. I have become a very loyal rooter for the Dallas Cowboys, except when they play Philadelphia or Washington or Baltimore or Miami
Yes.
or Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Any other game, boy, I'm just gung-ho for
You-
Tom and his boys.
You must also include the Houston Oilers when they play them.
Do you choose up sides pretty rough on that?
Yes.
Well,
Yes. Yeah.
I think I'll probably be a Dallas Cowboy fan in that game. Although in my writing, I'm totally fascinated by Houston. And it will certainly play a major role in what I have planned, partly because of its tremendous dynamism, the fact that things are happening there, the fact that you see the best and the worst maybe of Texas there. And but for someone like me, it's always been a captivating place simply because of the dynamism of it.
Books cost so much money now. Paperback books cost so much money. Hardcover books cost so much money. The people like you are about the only ones who can really be assured of getting published. Are we squeezing the new people out?
Yes. American publishing is in very bad shape. Every publisher wants 10 guys like me, 10 women like Joyce Carol Oates.
Why not? Of course.
Why waste your money on gambles? Well, the dreadful thing about that is that on the 1st of January every year, I get a year older. I ain't going to be here permanent. And publishers better be very careful that they're bringing some people along. Look at the great people I have known, Steinbeck and Kenneth Roberts and Pearl Buck and on down the line. They're all gone. They don't do any publishers any good now. What the publisher today needs is the guy I was 40 years ago. How do you find him? It's a mystery.
How long did it take you to get published?
I never wrote anything till I was 40 years old.
I understand.
But I wasn't trying to get published in that interval. I was sort of gathering ideas and girding my loins, as they say in the Bible. And when I started right at the top.
There were a lot more stories still in that head that haven't come out yet?
I would think about 8 or 10 really great ones still germinating. One would expect maybe to write one more after Texas, 2 more maybe. But, well, I have written a group of books which have universally stood at the top of the bestseller lists, some for month after month after month. And I used to think that this happens by accident and good luck, and I still think it. I think there are any number of writers who are as good as I am around, and I know something about this. There must be in Texas right now 15 writers who are as good as I am. But I've had lucky breaks, I've done some of the right things, I've dealt with great subject matter, I've been at the right place at the right time, and all those things conspire to give a man a career to which his raw talents alone might not entitle him. I think luck is a fantastic factor in human life, and in the arts, it's sometimes the determining factor.
Let me tell you before you write it down, and then you determine which way you want to go. A good longhorn cow can be purchased for $4,000, number one. A very good longhorn cow is going to cost $9,000 to $10,000. An embryo donor potential cow, like one that is in this group here, RM156, will sell for $150,000. Now those are the breakdowns.
I see.
A good cow that a guy will come to a sale and buy, he can buy a good cow for $4,000.
Yeah.
He can buy a very good cow that would probably be in the top 30% of the breed for $9,000 to $10,000.
May 1984. James Michener is on a ranch outside Johnson City. His book is starting to take shape. His characters are starting to have faces and physiques and personalities. Red McCombs is a car dealer in San Antonio, but Red is also a successful longhorn cattle breeder in the hill country. Michener has created a character in his novel who needs the knowledge of a Red McCombs. So Michener spends a day at Red's place, learning the longhorn business, observing cattle, quizzing Red, mingling with the real cowboys, playing the part of a celebrity, but always alert to what's going on around him.
James Barton Smith there, I've renamed him Bartoni, Chef Bartoni.
Jim Michener's reputation gives him a distinct advantage as a reporter. When he needs information, he can go to the top man and ask direct questions that a fledgling reporter might not be able to do. Wealth does not intimidate him. He's a wealthy man himself, and he does not waste time.
Other than what you're going to sell and get the people there needs to sell. These jalapeno peppers with an onion for dessert. There's no problem bringing them one way, but when you bring them down and into the ring for a sale,
The meeting with Red McCombs was timed to be just before a longhorn sale.
didn't have any serious problem.
Prize animals decorated the landscape. Michener got all of his questions answered, and a bonus, an old-fashioned Texas cookout that featured cabrito. And a pleasant view of the scenery that keeps so many Texans down on the farm. The ranchers, the rangers, the historians, and the history makers are still being interviewed by James A. Michener. He'll be researching that novel right up to the print deadline. When it is complete, it may surprise a few people. It may even displease some others. But nobody can question James A. Michener's dedication. He hopes to have his book on the store shelves by late 1985. No doubt it'll become another bestseller, and to the rest of the world, Michener's Texas novel will become the definitive picture of Texas and Texans, whether it really is or not. That's the Eyes of Texas for now. I'm Ron Stone. Have a good week.
The Eyes of Texas.